Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Radio Broadcasting Network. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Connect, and Building Solid Foundation.
Welcome back to Fabulous Lifestyle Radio. I am your fabulous host, Ricki. I'm joined today by Noel Sundholm. She is our second artist out of the San Diego area, designing her own fashion clothing line. Noel, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so you started your own brand back in 2020 called Soul Creative, right? And
Yeah.
you designed it with the idea of creating genderless clothing, which is incredible. Can you tell us what genderless clothing means to you?
Yeah, so genderless clothing is something that I've always felt but really didn't know how to identify for myself. So um it's basically just wearing clothes that make you feel good, make you feel like yourself, without putting any gender labels on it, going to the women's section or going to the men's section. Like, I just want to wear clothes that make me comfortable. Like, if I want to wear a t-shirt, like a t-shirt is the same t-shirt in the women's department and it's the same t-shirt in the men's department. So why does it need the gender like name for it, you know? So I think for me, genderless clothing is important because it's not labeling anything for like me as a queer person. So I'm able to like live more freely without those labels. So it was important for me to start a clothing brand because I'm into fashion and that kind of stuff without any labels tied to it. So yeah.
You brought up a really good point, as a queer person. So there's no rules in fashion, right? And we're constantly redefining them and breaking them.
Mm,
If you're a man, you don't have to shop in the men's section. If you're a woman, you don't have to shop in the women's section. But there is a level of comfort when you're not having to break the rules and go into a different section. I
mhm,
can see how that would be a moment of discomfort. And yes, I'm allowed to wear a men's t-shirt, but I don't exactly want to like shop in the men's section of the
mm,
clothing department. So your brand's really taken that away, right? It's just
right.
there's not a women's tab, there's not a man's tab. How do we
No.
find your clothes, by the way? Are you online?
Yeah, so you can find us at soulcreativeco.com. You just type that into Google and it should pop up.
Okay, and what is the aesthetic of the clothes? I mean, genderless, but take one of
Yes.
your outfits out there.
Yeah, so the aesthetic is definitely like beachy vibes, SoCal vibes. I grew up in Southern California, so it's very beachy, SoCal vibes, and I grew up in Southern California, so um that's like the style aesthetic it's going for, very chill. Have lots of hoodies, lots of hats, lots of beanies, lots of t-shirts and tank tops and stuff like that. Things that are pretty, genderless for everybody, that everybody can wear. So not that other clothing isn't like a crop top, because anybody could wear a crop top, but for the aesthetic of Soul Creative, it's very much this SoCal surf skate art kind of vibe.
Okay, so are you in the scene down there in San Diego? Are you surfing?
Yeah, so I do surf in the summertime, but not, spring, summer, a little bit into fall, but once that hard fall hits, once the winter hits, I'm inside. There's no way. My toes will go numb, so I don't got a thick enough wetsuit for that.
So what inspired you to start a clothing line? Because it's not a small feat. There's a lot of hours of work that go into it. You're a fairly new brand. So what happened in 2020 where you decided you needed to start making clothes?
Yeah, so in 2020, I was like stuck inside all the time. I was finishing up my degree online, and I just have a creative mind. So I was always on like Pinterest and TikTok, and just that was a period of time too where I was crafting my own personal style. So I was figuring out what I liked and, the clothes I like to wear, and identifying these feelings of my identity with shopping for clothes, and the discomfort I felt. And I was like, there's no way I'm the only person that feels this level of discomfort when shopping. Like, And so the idea originally started with me making hoodies with like some of my photography pictures on it. So I was going to put like sunset pictures because I just
Yeah.
love the sun. And I have thousands of camera roll pictures of sunsets. So originally the idea was going to be that. And then I was like, how can I make this more meaningful for people, especially a part of the community that I am a part of, right? Which is like queer people and, you know, surfers and skaters and non-binary people. And so the clothing brand kind of crafted itself in its own unique way where it kind of just took off into this beautiful thing that kind of just represents me, my identity, I guess.
Yeah.
So like amidst the 2020 and the pandemic, like it was really started with me just feeling the level of discomfort and like turning that into something positive and more beautiful for people to enjoy, really.
And
So
sharing that with other people. I mean, I think a lot of people can relate to
mhm,
self-discovery in
mhm,
2020. I mean, we had a lot of time on our hands. A lot of us did
yeah,
to really reflect on what wasn't working or
mhm,
where we wanted to improve our lives. So I just saw a lot of people sort of discovering themselves and trying to reinvent, start their own small businesses. So this is a
right.
passion project of that, right?
Yeah,
Um,
for
and so
sure.
you didn't start off with this bold mission statement, right? It sort of like evolved into that, into
Yeah,
this clothing.
right. Yeah, for sure.
And I love that you saw a need for that. Are there a lot of other clothing brands out there that are doing what you're doing? Because I haven't seen
So
many of them.
yeah, mainstream media, there's you won't find it very often. It is a small niche, but I think once the word gets around, like people like gravitate towards it. They love the message, they love the idea of clothes not being gendered because I mean everybody's wearing pants, everybody's wearing shorts, everybody's wearing a top. It's just the style of it, right? It's just
Right,
like, do you want a slim cut shirt? Do you want a crop shirt? Like, why does it need to say, you know, women or men,
right,
children's clothing are mostly labeled just children's clothing, right? Because they're like small, but it's not like, I mean, so most department stores do have like a girls section or a boy section, but when you're shopping online, sometimes it does say like children's section, like just children's as a general term, which is
yeah.
cool. But yeah.
So, are you doing children's clothing yet? I feel like that's a need. Is
I did do like a little kid t-shirt, but it didn't do very well, so I pulled it off the site.
Oh my gosh, you go
Um,
into these department stores and it's just like princess stuff for the girls and it's super cute
yeah,
for the boys. I do see such a need for us to make children's clothing more inclusive.
right,
Because you start making your defining who you are so young, and we get pressured into this box so early on in our lives, and it's just easier to stay in that box, right?
right,
I
yeah,
think we start realizing as we get older that we've maybe been uncomfortable in that box the entire time. We just kind of thought everyone was uncomfortable.
right. And then
Um,
nowadays it's like, why not let kids explore what they want, right? With toys or
mhm.
clothes, within the means of things, right? Like, the world would probably be a better place if
Right.
everybody took that approach.
If we were all just able to be our more authentic selves.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to talk a little bit more about the process of starting a brand. I can see a lot of people, you have the idea, right? You have the mission statement, maybe you have a passion for something. How do you
Yeah.
get it off the floor? Where do you even start with something like this?
Yeah. So I had $0, zero. I in my journal and was like writing down all my thoughts about this whole project and how important it actually was. And I just remember like crying because I was like, there's not much of this in the world.
Mhm.
Like
There's no
for
examples. Yeah.
yeah, there's no blueprint for it. So I guess the blueprint that I actually did go by was, watching YouTube videos about people starting their own businesses, people starting their own clothing brands, even though mine was going to be shaped differently or the message was differently, so I had to learn how to get a business license, how to a website, how to upload products, how to find manufacturers, like how to do the marketing myself, how to graphic design my logos myself, so I had to take on all these different roles and self-learn or self-teach myself because I didn't have a business degree. I had a dance degree.
Right.
So YouTube was my best friend. Taking information as I could, putting the pieces together for myself. And yeah, people are able to start a business with $0 because so starting it was $0, but once you start, putting your website online, that's where it's gonna take, some money. But for the most part, like getting the idea out and learning how to start it is free, So, I mean, making the domain the name that you want for your website cost me like $20 a year or something like that. Having my website online and active cost me $30 a month. So those things take investing.
But it's not a large lump sum at the beginning. I mean, I thought that
Right.
it took a whole lot to go from zero to get something off of the ground.
No, like I investigated everything. I learned how to make products, how to put things on. I was in contact with manufacturers, getting quotes, like all that stuff you can do for free so you can build up towards something. And at the time I was working a minimum wage job. So, if I could do it, anybody really could. I didn't have anybody donating money to this project. Like, I had to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs at times. Any extra money would put to it. I was charging things to my credit card. So yeah, when you want to do something, you kind of just figure out how to make it work.
You make it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody does, but you do. You make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not easy though, but it can be worth it though. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're coming up to our break here, but don't go anywhere because when we come back, we're going to continue talking to Noel Sundholm about her brand Soul Creative here at Fabulous Lifestyle Radio.
Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Radio Broadcasting Network. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Connect, and Building Solid Foundation.